So, our school had a bit of a tech-free inventory thing today. So needless to say, we had a bit of a haul. And by we, I mean I. I meant to say I initially. That's what happens when you're packing, like, I don't know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't bother to count computers. And for our old friend, Old PC Recycler, who's probably watching this video, I got D630s for days. For days. Literally. So, if anybody needs a surplus of D630s, hit me up. I got you, fam.
You just have to pay for shipping?
You just gotta pay for shipping.
Shipping and handling.
Shipping and handling. Handling via UPS, or actually USPS, there we go. United States Parcel Smashers.
There you go.
The preferred shipping courier of the Jordan Roller YouTube channel and Jordan Roller Discord. I'm actually really kind of curious to see what's left of these. This one actually has a fingerprint reader, where the middle button is.
Yep.
So yeah, as you can obviously see, we had a bit of a haul. Now, I mainly scored the laptops because the desktops, let's face it, were gone. All the good ones. I mean, I did score 3 Optiplex GX620s and 1 760 there, and a small form factor 745, and then a small form factor 780 with a Core 2 quad, which is pretty decent. For free, anyway.
Yep.
Keep that in mind. And then I got a few different D400 series machines, plenty of D600 machines, a few Latitude XTs, and if you don't know what those are, the XT was a bit of an interesting machine from the late 2000s where it had one of those 180-degree rotating hinges that locked in place like this, and then they also had the option of a stylus and a capacitive display where you had pressure sensitivity. So these will be very interesting to test out. And Chris had his own haul. He's recording the video, and he also managed to nab one of the quad-core 780s, which is awesome. So he's going to build that into a cheap daily system, which is going to be friggin' sweet.
Yeah. I got 8 gigs of RAM for it. If I throw it all in one of my bigger cases, I've got 320 gigabytes for it. It's got a Core 2 quad, so...
We don't know what clock speed yet, but I would predict a 2.33 gigahertz or maybe a 2.66.
Yeah.
I believe.
So decent. It's a decent start for having paid nothing for anything.
Absolutely nothing. Yes. And then also picked up the T61 15-inch, and then off to the side here
T400.
a T400. Not too interesting compared to all the rest of it because it's mostly Dells, but hey, I'm not complaining. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the stuff unloaded. We're going to take this cart back, and then we're going to meet up in Chris's room, and we're going to test out a 780 first, and we'll go from there as far as testing systems.
Does this have DVI? If not, I'll have to steal this cord. Nope. Okay.
Alrighty, so we're going to start with Chris's Latitude XT that he scored. I've got my Latitude E5470 charger because I'm going to just voluntarily use it for now. These all have like the same outlets and everything because they're Dells, of course. Where's the plug on these? On the back, right there. Don't mind me with the great camera work. Hey, we got a charging light.
But it says it has a hard drive.
Let's find out. Yep, battery's probably either too dead or it's toast. Oh, did I hit it? I did. I think I did.
Looks like it's glowing.
It looks like it's on, but
it's got a blue light. Oh, there it
took
goes.
a while to post. Fair enough. All right. Obviously, backup battery's dead. We figured as such. All right. BIOS date of the 12th of January 2010. It's got a Core 2 Duo 1.2 gigahertz with an 800 megahertz or 1.2 gigahertz maximum clock. Thought I saw a frontside bus in there. My bad. 3 gigs of RAM. Interesting. It's in dual channel. It's got a 32 gig SSD.
That's not bad.
It's got a dedicated graphics card, really. ATI Radeon Express 1250. Nothing fancy, but for the time, that was pretty good. And let's see, battery info. It is charging. It does recognize that it's a 90 watt adapter, so maybe we'll let this sit on a charger for a bit. It says this battery is performing normally, so that's a good thing. Let's go ahead and set the date and time real quick. The date is May... Oops, I gotta enter. Or May Today's the 22nd or 21st?
Today's the 22nd.
22nd. 2019. I'm going to leave the time the same because whatever. Da 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 da. Apparently you can turn off the microphone. That's interesting. Any passwords? No passwords. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. How about CompuTrace? That's deactivated. That's deactivated. That's enabled. Blah 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 blah. Multi-core is enabled. Speed steps enabled. Cool, cool. I think we can fire up in the Windows or whatever's on the drive if there even is an OS on the drive. Let's find out. If it's wiped, I won't be surprised because I'm sure that they're. Well, ooh, that's nice.
Yeah. Pick that up at Stormy's.
That's cool. I like these buttons too. Like a screen rotation, settings, email program. Okay.
Because in here is my magical wireless keyboard.
Awesome. That's a wow. Oh, we gotta love these Dells with their full memory tests after you run the setup. This one's in pretty good shape too. Really just needs to have a wet wipe taken to it. Otherwise, yeah, it's in pretty good shape. Actually, this one does have a stylus. How about that?
Oh, I guess I was just checking off that.
Well, there you go. You got a stylus. A lot of the ones I grabbed, the Latitude XTs, I did not grab them if it didn't have a stylus. I grabbed the ones that did have a stylus. And the hard drive's been wiped, so fair enough. At least we know that it works. So that's awesome to see. All right, moving on. I hope you plugged it in, yeah.
This thing's on.
All right, let's see what the status LEDs on the front look like. Well, they're looking normal to me. Anything on the display?
I might not have the card in correctly.
Who knows? Oh, on the plus side, at least none of the lights on the front are stuck on. That's probably meaning no OS on the drive or the time and date's wrong. Check the menu. See if the on-screen menu comes up. Oh. That might have a bad backlight.
Might be a dead panel.
Could be a dead panel, yeah.
Oh,
That's.
Looks like we're gonna go.
Looks like we need to. Well, take two coming right away thanks to the magic of video editing.
I think that one has 4 gigs. This one, I might actually salvage. I might actually just use those sticks for this one.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Who knows?
All right, let's juice the 780 once again with a good monitor.
Yep.
Should already be on auto detect, so we don't have to manually specify which monitor, so it should just light right up. Ooh, sweet. We're loaded. It's probably got a dead battery. That's probably what's beeping. I think.
What do I smash to get into BIOS?
It should automatically do the thing if it doesn't already. Yeah. Hit F2. Function F2 on your keyboard.
Yeah, gotta love
And I
that.
think yours is a mouse controlled BIOS. Nice. Alright.
Though it doesn't want to register my mouse.
But at least on the plus side, you can use the keyboard. Ooh, dual channel. Sweet. It's got a BIOS from 2011. It's got a Core 2 Quad 2.66 gigahertz.
Nice.
There we go. I didn't know if these had a Q9300 or a Q9400, but these have the Q9400. I hope that's what mine has too.
Doesn't want to register any mouse.
Screw the mouse. My keyboard on my 790 is sporadic, my mechanical one.
Yeah.
If you just so much as press the down arrow, the blue text cursor just goes pew!
Nice.
So, yeah, don't feel bad. These have really picky supports. Date and time are correct. Let's check for passwords. That's the wrong menu. No password, no password. Login rights, yes. And that is deactivated. Sweet. And no hard drive password either. Awesome. So this one is muy bien.
Nice. Want to throw the V Pro up here?
Yeah, let's throw the one with the V Pro up here. Alright. That one's an amber. That could be bad power supply. I think that might be what that is a bad power supply. See if I can get it to come off here. And then try again. Oh,
there we
I guess not. Okay, that kind of freaked me there for a minute. I thought we had one with a bad power supply. Of course, they all have the boot agents enabled for when they were imaging these things over the network. Okay, this one is Core 2 Quad Q8400 as well. Oh, 8400, not a 9400. This one's a slightly older one, but doesn't make that much of a difference. 4 gigs of RAM in this one as well. It's got an older BIOS, but we can update that. Not a big deal. And let's see here. Any passwords? No. That's deactivated. No password on the hard drive. Okay, perfect. Okay, so one we thought had a bad power supply is actually good.
Yep.
Luckily. All right, on to the next one, which I think we're going to do the 745 next.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Look it.
Okay, so the 745 is up and running there. Okay, good. It's found the CD drive. Good for it. No floppy drive. Duh. There's no floppy drive.
Ah.
This one's got the older BIOS. Alrighty. Core 2, 2.13 gigahertz. And it's 2 megs of cache. 2 gigs of dual channel.
Not bad.
It's got the video card, of course, for the moment. Date and time's reset, whatever, don't matter. Do we got a password? No password. And deactivated. Perfect. We're good on the 740. I guess it's just for shits and giggles. Let's see what it does. That's what I figured. No boot device. Which is fine. Okay, I think the last thing we're going to try as far as desktops are concerned was that Optiplex 760 over there.
Yep. Right stuff.
Yeah, maybe. Alright, let's juice it. I heard a
Green.
happy sound. Ow. Oh, and she's lit. Sweet. Alright, so found the hard drive, found a CD-ROM device. Good for it. Might be worth making test installs of Windows 7 on these newer ones. And the 745 we need an install of XP or Vista or something to update the BIOS to the latest, which isn't too hard to do.
Of course.
This thing is taking a while to get off the automatic IDE configuration for one thing. Some of these they take forever. I don't know why they do, but some of them they do. And the 2 light in the no, it's just the 2 lights on. Okay. Does this actually have a working drive? Yeah. Cool. Not like that really makes too much of a difference, but that's just a savings of 20 bucks or less for a brand new optical drive. Wow, holy moly. Get off the automatic IDE configure. There you go. My goodness. Oh, hang on a minute. System management hardware requires a reset. System setup configuration. Just go ahead and run F2, yeah. This keyboard's been... Yeah, keyboard not found. Please connect USB keyboard to USB port on the computer.
Yeah, I need to change the batteries on this.
Alright.
We can do that.
Well, we know it works, so that's good enough for me. Apparently it needs a BIOS reset for some reason. I don't know why.
Yep.
And it's not off yet. Would you like to turn off, sir? Sir, would you like to turn off? There you go. Okay. And then just kind of an added bonus to the end of this before I end up leaving the room. I think, are these both... Oh, let's try this Dell right here. This uses the same charger as the Latitude XT. And then I want to try my Latitude XT after we try Chris's D400. Is it a D420 or D430?
I don't know.
Let's find out together.
D420.
D420, alright. Let's throw that on the table here.
420 on the 420.
Let's-
That's a fingerprint scan?
Yep, that's a fingerprint scanner.
Nice.
Alright, let's juice her up. I'm just gonna keep it rolling. Why not? Let's see, where's the jack on this? I think it's off to the left. Okay, and I think these use a power switch slider, or no, the power button's on the side. Alright, and she's lit up. It's got the original BIOS, A01. Now that's something you don't see every day. Yeah, it's got the original June 22nd, 2006 BIOS. Wow. Or that might be just a slight security bump, I'm not too sure. Core 2 Duo, 1.2 gigahertz. It's got 2.5 gigs of RAM. Really? Someone must have a 2 gig and a 512. This must have shipped new with 512 megs of memory, and that slot's probably under the keyboard. And of course, typical Intel 945G graphics. Battery is charging. This battery has experienced a permanent failure and needs to be replaced.
My favorite.
It's kind of to be expected for a laptop from 2006. It's got a 13-year-old battery in it, so I'm not surprised. Does this one have passwords? No. It is permitted for change, whatever. Deactivated and deactivated. Perfect. Alright, just for shits and giggles, let's see if there's anything on the drive. I don't think so. Yeah, no. That didn't surprise can I English today? No, there's nothing on this. So, we got one that has a permanently dead battery, but that doesn't really surprise me too much because, again, a 13-year-old laptop, what did you expect? So, just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to try my first Latitude XT. I'm going to see if it works because mine's got the dock battery on it, and I'm curious to see if it works and holds a charge before I go back to my room, because once I go back there, I'm going to be back there for like ever. So, yeah. Let's see if it juices up or something. So far, I'm not seeing anything, but that doesn't necessarily mean much. That was the right plug, right? I just jam it in there. Oh, I did see it flash. Okay. I did see it flash now. I just didn't have it in all the way. Alright. This one's probably got a working battery. It's just dead, so let's see what this one does. Those power lights are really dim. Like, really, really dim. Ah, and she lit up. Well, sweet. And of course, this one's time and date's wrong as well. Doesn't surprise me. Oh. This one needs a service tag inputted. I'm going to do that later. What's this one got? 1.2 gigahertz Core 2 as well. 3 gigs of RAM in this one. 32 gig SSD with the same graphics. 256 megs of video memory. Both batteries are detected. And the system cannot communicate with this battery. Fascinating. I would like to know why. I will look into that later. As far as passwords are concerned, everything looks good and happy. Alright, I think that's good enough for me. I might need to enter that service tag in later, but for the most part, I think we're good to go. Yeah. It'd be very interesting to try these styli out and see what they do. See if they even work, for that matter. I don't know what OS is besides Vista that those drivers will work on. I think maybe I might be able to fudge Windows 7 into working on these things, but I'm going to see if I get 10 working, because a lot of my software is Windows 10 only, so I mean, it might be a bit of a stretch on a 1.2 gigahertz Core 2 Duo, but it ought to be alright, as long as I'm patient. But those 32 gig SSDs are going to be a bit of an interesting debacle. I don't know how well that's going to work out. Okay, kind of an interesting little side throw here. Mine's got XP on it. I better put the camera away. There's probably some school stuff on this, but I find that absolutely hilarious. This has actually got Windows XP on the drive. I was not expecting that to come up like at all. I don't think this touchscreen works with a finger. Either that or the driver's not installed. I don't know which. There's no password on it. I'm not surprised, but fascinating. That's very fascinating. Is this Pro? This is probably XP Pro. Looks like it's a clean installation, yeah. There's a Core 2 U7600 at 1.2 gigahertz. That started up really quick for being probably an SSD, that's my guess. Well, since I'm in Windows, let's get a look at the device manager. Let's see what's rocking under the hood here. It does see a digitizer, so somebody did install all the drivers. I don't know if these pins, what they need to work. Let me see if I can get one to work here. Oh, maybe I need to calibrate the screen before it'll work. I guess that shouldn't be too surprising. But yeah, there is an N-Trig digitizer on this display. Very nice, very nice. It's got a fingerprint sensor. There's the two batteries in my case. ATI Radeon Express 1250. So it is actually a discrete graphics, or some kind of integrated solution of some kind. Very, very interesting. This ought to be a very fun little system to dink around with. How about this digitizer stuff? Let's see if I can capture some of this on camera. Let's see, properties. Let's see if we can... Oh, hey! Apparently, this has both pen and touch input. Well, that's sweet. I wonder how we would... get the thing to calibrate. Let's try that. Touch tuning will begin in 5 seconds. Please refrain from touching the screen. I probably should not touch the screen. Okay, screen input procedure was completed successfully. I don't know if the driver's installed or if I have to... God damn it, don't do that. Oh, stop. Yeah, calibration failed. Yeah, because I stopped it. Okay, I want to try something real quick. Does it only work in this mode? Now, the pen hasn't worked yet. Neither does my finger. Okay, that's very interesting. Does this button work? Okay, so not all the software is installed. It was only just the critical drivers, it looks like. That opened up Task Manager. Ah, right. Nothing works because there's no software to make use of all that stuff. Fair enough. Somebody probably just got this working enough to where it'll work with all of the regular input methods. Okay. So, interesting. I am really looking forward to seeing what we can do here as far as the software is concerned. Use the context dragging tool to improve how tablet PC input panel recognizes handwriting by biasing input panel towards certain input. Whatever that is. I have no idea. Anyway, I think, yeah, there's nothing on here besides just the drivers, which I guess isn't too surprising. Let's just do the advanced setup, why not? Yes. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Alright, well, that was a surprise that this actually started up into Windows XP. I was really surprised. I thought the drive was wiped, but I guess not this one. This one's a lucky duckling. But I probably won't leave XP on this because I want to do some more stuff with this. I don't have any tablet-specific software that runs on XP in particular. Otherwise, I'd leave it on here. But still, though, very, very fascinating. All right, jump cut to my room. And we're back. There's my Latitude XT that's running XP, at least for now, so I have a little bit of a reference as to what to look up. But now I'm curious about this HP. I want to try powering this up. I want to see what it does. So I'm going to bring it over here. Move my headphones out of the way. I don't currently have a Lenovo charger with me to test the T61 and the T400. That'll have to wait until later where my charger is at home. Or at least a Lenovo charger is at home. So, yeah. Anyway, we're going to move that out of the way, and then we're going to connect this up to the HP. I want to see what this thing does. I don't have a stylus for this one, unfortunately. So, that's alright, though. Oh, there's a fan. I guess it did its power on self-test. I guess it works. And it auto-powered on. Let's see if there's anything on the screen. Well, the fan is on 100% full blast. I think that's the power switch, yeah. I wonder if it doesn't have any RAM. I have never checked that. Okay, so my suspicions are confirmed. It has RAM. It looks like 2 gigs of factory installed RAM. I'm just going to leave that off for now. Let's try this again. Oh, hey. Hey, it lit up. Sweet. I missed the setup key. I don't know what it just did. Alright, off. I totally missed the setup key. It's F10. Okay, so, okay, there it goes. Hopefully it does something a little bit more entertaining. These all network boot because that's how the school is imaging these things, so that's why all these PXE things are coming up. Well, obviously no non-system disk or disk error. Can I control delete? This keyboard might be a little bit screwed. Unfortunately, do I have an extra one somewhere? I think I do. I think I put it where this Toshiba is. I think I got the receiver still in it, and then we'll just throw it into there. And then where did I have the white one? I cannot remember where I put that one. I think it was up here. Yeah, there we go. And then I think... Okay, yeah, it's working. So I need to control delete and get into the setup. Yeah, something must be up with the keyboard. Now we're in the setup. Okay, what's this one got? Oh. Yeah, I don't think enter's supposed to trigger caps lock, so something's definitely up with the keyboard on this one, but we have a 1.2 gigahertz Core 2 Duo with 2 gigs of RAM on this one. Alright, it's got a battery, serial number, no status to display. Alright, well, that's good enough for me. So as far as passwords are concerned, it does not look to have any passwords, thankfully. Alright. Interesting. Windows Vista Direct App Launch and virtualization technology. I'm actually surprised it has that. Hardware virtualization technology enables a processor feature for running multiple simultaneous virtual machines, allowing specialized software applications to run in full isolation of each other. Remain disabled unless specialized applications are being used. I don't care, HP. Don't tell me how to use my computer. Anyway, F10 to accept. All these F10 button presses. I have to do function F10 on this keyboard. I don't think it has a hard drive in it. I didn't check, but this one might not have a hard drive in it, like, period. Which wouldn't really surprise me, because I didn't see any like hard drive like spin up or anything. So on the bright side, it works. So I know that for a fact. But I don't believe that it has a hard drive, because I didn't hear one. And as far as I am aware, I don't see one. I didn't hear one spin up, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't have one in like the form of an SSD, but I didn't check. So probably some observant person would probably have noticed that. I don't know. Anyway, screw fell out. So we're going to go ahead and put this one back together. And probably a vast majority of these things I'm going to test off camera. I was just curious about this HP just because I do have the power supply for it that I could plug it in and test. So it does appear to work, but I am going to look into that keyboard because it looked like it was screwed up. Because enter should not have been turning on caps lock, like, at all. So something was definitely wrong with the keyboard. But otherwise, it seems to work, so that's pretty cool. Okay, I don't believe, as far as some of these machines are concerned, I might test my 780, but otherwise, I don't believe that, you know, I'm going to probably make a big effort to test all these things on video. It's going to take way too long. And this is on a school night, so if I'm going to get this uploaded to YouTube, I better get to it quick. So, yeah, basically that's that. So, Chris gave me his D420 since he said he wasn't ever going to need it. So, I have a D420 and his 745. And I believe he gave me his Toshiba as well, which is right there on the top. And then he gave me all these 1 gig sticks of DDR2 for some of these other systems, like the 745 and the GX620s over there. So, yeah. Alrighty. Well, I think that's probably going to wrap up this video. I'm going to have a lot of fun going through all of these D630s and D600s. Unfortunately, I don't have a power supply for these Toshibas. I don't believe I do anyway, because I think these, they use a center positive 15 volt, and I believe, where the heck did I have it? It was over here somewhere. I think my closest one is this one, which is a center positive, but it's 19 volts, unfortunately. And I think the jack's the same size, but I'm not about to try putting a higher voltage laptop power supply into something that needs a lower voltage laptop power supply. And this Toshiba here is soldered into this laptop over here, so I can't even do it either. And besides, it's a 19 volt as well. So I would have to source out a power supply to test all these Toshibas. I don't believe they're that costly on eBay, but it's going to take some time because, you know, I don't have a surplus of a budget right now. So it'll have to wait until later. Maybe I'll clear out some of this inventory, get it out of the way, because I've got so many friggin' computers. It's insane now. But at least have fun with installing Windows on one of these Latitude XTs to give a try, hoping that at least one of them works. And I'm going to obviously set this Optiplex 780 up, so I might give that a go. I might see if that works. I'm going to throw this graphics card in here, which unfortunately needs a DMAS 59, but it is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and just, oh, excuse me. Probably throw it on the test bench here, or right over there actually, and test it real quick. Alright, so I figured I'd make some kind of a closing to this video before I start editing it here on my school laptop here, which I use for my video editing. Anyway, so here we have the Optiplex 760 that I may or may not have shown. I have two of these now that, you know, my friend Chris gave me one of his, or I think he had one of the Optiplex 760s and I had one, so he gave me his because he doesn't need it, because he ended up rolling with the Optiplex 780 small form factor that he got. Well, here's mine. This thing ended up being completely perfect and working just fine, so it got the best GPU, which was that Radeon HD 4350 I was able to score. And in addition, it got a 160 gig drive out of my stockpile of drives that I was able to, you know, to stash up. And this thing runs Windows 10 pretty well. And then I was able to fix up this Optiplex 745 with 4 gigs of RAM. It's currently running XP because I was updating the BIOS and doing some other things and just burn testing it. So it seems to run pretty good. I don't know if this thing's going to get any more RAM. It might or it might not. I'm not too sure. I'll have to check the quality of my RAM. But as of right now, it's going to have 4 gigs. 4 times 1, basically. So I was able to salvage a couple of hard drives. These are just 80 gigs across the board. Nothing fancy, but hey, SATA hard drives. Now, unfortunately, as I've been doing some testing, I've unfortunately encountered some casualties. These GX620s, unfortunately, the vast majority of what's in here is probably toast, or at least needs to be looked into. Could be bad power supplies or something, I'm not too sure yet. But this one here looks to have all 4 RAM slots populated with 1 gig sticks. So this one actually has 4 gigs of RAM in it. I believe it's DDR2 667. Down here looks to be the same thing too as far as RAM population is concerned, although I'm not too sure. This one might only have 2 gigs of RAM amongst 4 sticks. I can't quite read it from this angle. But I've taken the drives out of them. They weren't any bigger than 80 gigs anyway. And then one of these worked. One of these 3 worked, but the fan was horrible. Like, absolutely horrible. It was this one here on the top. Like, this fan is gone. And the reason why I know it's gone is because the bearings are, like, gone out of this fan, or something's wrong with it, because it is rubbing up against the top part of this fan frame, and you can hear it scraping too. It's horrible. So yeah, needless to say, this fan is gone, but this one actually has a working motherboard, which is awesome. So what I might just end up doing is swapping out this entire shroud for one from one of these other ones that I think may, yeah, that one looks to have a good fan, so I might take the fan out of this one and put it into this one, so this one will have a good fan, because this one has a working motherboard, so that'll be fantastic. So this one has a good power supply, good board. I've ripped the friggin' nut out of the port, so I gotta put that back into it. Luckily I have that because I accidentally did it. This floppy drive's a little bit on the loose side, but it's just because it's missing a screw. Interestingly, the head on that one is stripped. That's interesting. As far as these laptops are concerned, I don't have a power supply to test these Toshibas, so unfortunately those cannot be tested which is unfortunate because those things are probably one of the neatest ones out of this whole entire bunch. That was mainly the reason why I wanted to do this, but they use a non-standard 15-volt power brick that I don't have right now, so unfortunately that won't be something I can test, at least not right away. And in fact, I know most of these don't have the stylus with them, but 2 of them do. And in case anybody was wondering what a stylus of a Toshiba Portage M200 laptop looked like, or in this case a tablet PC, well, now you know. It's a cheapo piece of plastic, but hey, it's probably pressure sensitive, and it probably works. So hey, I can't really complain for free. There's the D600 series machines, or the D600s and the D610, the lowly D610. And yeah, the D610 actually ended up being quite nice. It has the discrete Radeon X300 graphics in it, which was something of a surprise. I was actually really happy to see that. These other 2 are actually not too bad machines either. They both function. I believe one of the D600s has a 2 GHz Pentium M, similar to my old ThinkPad T41. And one of them has a 1.4 gigahertz Pentium M. Both have 512 megs of RAM. Actually, I think all 3 of them have 512 megs of RAM. But I'm going to upgrade the D610 to 2 gigs of RAM because this uses DDR2 RAM. It's a little bit newer than these other 2. And then as far as the D400 series machines are concerned, the D430s and the D420, they all work, but I believe they're all missing hard drives. And I don't remember, I think these use the ZIF or ZIF hard drives. So that's going to be fun to source drives for. And they're probably not worth fixing anyway because they're all 1.2 gigahertz, or in the case of one of the D430s, a 1.33 gigahertz Core 2 Duo. So they're not exactly speedy machines by any means of nowadays. Same thing goes for these Latitude XTs. They're 1.2 gigahertz Core 2 Duos as well, so they're not exactly speed demons. In fact, I actually installed Windows 10 on one of them, and they're all right. They run pretty well for what they are, but don't expect any miracles out of them. They're just not very fast machines. So I don't expect anything different for these D430s and that one lowly D420 in there. Although the D420, maybe that might be a cheapo XP machine, I don't know. As far as these D630s are concerned, I haven't dug into these yet, other than I know that they all power on. I know this one on the bottom is an outlier. It has a slower CPU compared to the rest. I think this is a 2.16. I cannot remember what the clock speed of this one was. Sorry about that, people in the viewing audience, but I cannot remember what this thing had for a CPU in it. But I know it didn't have the NVIDIA NVS Quadro graphics card like all the rest of them do, which may or may not be a benefit to someone in the viewing audience, although that's up for debate. Wait for it. Oh, they didn't slam the door. I was waiting for them to slam the door because that's what everybody does around here. Anyway, so yeah, this one also works. That's another 745. That one works fine, although it only has 2 gigs of RAM. And the 760 is about ready to finish up with Windows 10. And I'm hoping that we can update the BIOS on this. It's like, I don't know if I've said this, but this thing was acting flaky with the RAM. So what it was doing, and again, if I'm saying this again, I'm sorry if I'm being repetitive, but I don't think I have, so whatever. It's late, I don't care. It's like past 10 o'clock, I should be in bed, but I digress. The RAM in this thing was acting really goofy, and in fact, the motherboard even got to a point where it was sitting there with the 4 light on the diagnostic LEDs, since this is a Dell to have that functionality still. So it was sitting there with the number 4 on, which was weird because it said it was a BIOS issue, and that's not exactly true. I think the reason why that was coming on was because one of the sticks of RAM I had was bad, and it was probably one of these Nanyas that I'm putting in the middle of the video, one of these 2 gig DDR2 sticks. So what I ended up doing was I found some RAM from this old AM2 build, or AM2 Plus build, sorry. This is a Phenom 9850, it's an AM2 Plus. And I took the RAM out of the slots here. This normally has 6 gigs, but I took the 2 gigs, not 2 4 gigs, duh. But I took the two gigs that were in those yellow slots, and I threw it into the 2 slots that were vacant on this system, and it seems to be happy with it. But unfortunately, the RAM is only running at 667 megahertz, which is unusually strange because the RAM itself is rated for 800 megahertz. Same thing with the other RAM in the system. Although I have a feeling that it's not the same type of memory. I think it's not PC26400U. I think it's a PC26400S. But I don't know. I could be wrong on that. So, regardless, it is booting. It is working. So I'm going to get the BIOS updated now that I'm in Windows. And it's got activation via that key on the top there. So it's got a licensed copy of Windows 10 Pro, which is nice. It's only a Core 2 Duo 2.93 gigahertz, but hey, that's still a half-decent CPU. It should be able to do just fine for basic tasks and for doing a little bit of something here and there. Just don't expect any miracles out of it, but I don't know. If the RAM stays at 667, that's not exactly a deal breaker. I'll still use it or still sell it onward probably as is. I might see if I can figure out the RAM situation. Oh, look, it's done. I might look into the RAM situation, though, just to see what's going on. Maybe we'll see if we can fix it, but as of right now, anyway, probably not. So we'll probably just leave it as it is because it's working just fine. And it has the maximum 8 gigabytes of RAM. Wow. Anyways, so that's going to wrap up this video. I've already made this clip, like, extremely over-lengthened and whatever, but yeah. So, I will probably post an update as far as these two ThinkPads are concerned, because I don't have my power brick with me at the moment to test the ThinkPads, but I will get back to everyone in the viewing audience as far as that stuff's concerned when I get to it. So, yeah, with that having been said, I'm going to wrap up this video. Appreciate you all coming to watch. It's probably not the most interesting thing, and I know I didn't test everything in the video, but there's just too much to test as far as one video is concerned within a matter of a couple of days. And, you know, I only have a 32 gig phone, and for that matter, I don't want to be sitting here all night editing too much video because, let's face it, I want to have a free weekend. So, anyway, excuses away. Let's get to editing this video. So, once again, thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all in a future video. Oh man, I'm sweaty.